Wait, where'd the book go? May the force be with you, Gandalf. Or whatever Harry Potter said.
IsBe tries to stuff.
So I got this book like a year ago. When did I get this book again? We went to a museum, right?
I think it was the Aquarium of Virginia?
I think so, yeah. And it's basically been sitting up there with the rest of the cookbooks also collecting dust. However, this being the first episode back from being on May the 4th, I've decided that we should use some of the recipes in this book, specifically the Star Wars ones. Now, I'm going to be honest. I actually don't like the way that this sounds. For the record, I'm also upset because the person who made it, Ligori Lecomte. Yeah, I said that right. Dagobah Swamp Pork Loin. If we're gonna make a Star Wars recipe and we're gonna base it off of Yoda, why would we not make the big pot of soup that he's making in Revenge of the Sith?
First of all, you're thinking of Return of the Jedi, but that's also wrong because the scene you're thinking of is from The Empire Strikes Back. Also, it wasn't a large pot of soup, it was a very teeny tiny pot of soup because Yoda is a teeny tiny guy. You fucking larper.
And I'm also going to make a dessert afterwards. The dessert is going to take forever though, so we're going to wait on that. Before we do that, we're going to go ahead and make the Dagobah Swamp with herb crust, which is just a big piece of meat. So first I'm going to preheat the oven to 350. Actually, I'm going to do one other thing first. So the dessert, the ingredient is superfine sugar, which upon Googling is just sugar that has been blended even more so than usual. So I'm going to do that first because the pork loin needs the blender, and so I'm going to have to rinse it out, and I'd rather not rinse it out and then put the sugar in because the sugar will get clumpy. That wouldn't make any sense. Okay, it just said about 4 ounces. I don't know how much that is using my brain, so we're just going to guess. And that's probably more fine than it previously was. Cool. Ooh, it's powdery. And if it's not more powdery and it's still not the right kind of sugar, well, screw it. So I have my pan here, and I have this pork tenderloin. What does this make you think of? If you said anything other than pork, you're a horrible person. Now, I personally have never made any sort of tenderloin, pork or otherwise. I also generally stay away from pork, not because I don't like pork, because I love bacon, but pork is one of the harder meats to cook. So this could go one of two ways. I'm just going to throw it on the pan real quick. It won't come out of the tube. I don't know if I'm shoving this out right, but you know. Come on, there we go, kersplat. Oh, and juice went everywhere, that's gross. Oh, it's actually 2 fat pieces, look at that. Okay, with that in mind, the recipe calls for very, very basic seasonings. Just to put oil, salt, and pepper, rub it all over, and then wrap it in foil. So that's what I'm going to do. First, I need my oil, salting it. I don't know how much salt or pepper I'm supposed to put on it. I'm just throwing it on there. I don't know. And some pepper. Sure, yeah, that's good, right? I don't know if I was supposed to cut anything off of the loin, or if I was supposed to open it a type of way, or what. I've now wrapped the tenderloin inside of the aluminum foil. I don't know if there's a specific way to wrap it. I did it diagonally to make sure that it all got covered properly. So it's just, you know, a big old sausage. I'm going to plop it on the pan. Now at this point, you're supposed to place it inside of the oven for about 20 minutes. However, unless I read the instructions wrong, there's something else that takes 20 minutes. And if I do it right, I can time it and then just do them both at 20 minutes. So I'm going to do the other thing first. Now, I'm not exactly sure what a bouillon is, but it was required. And it's some sort of powder, so I'm going to go ahead and take some of this bouillon. Oh, wait, I got to read. I'm going to use 1 tablespoon. I'm going to put 4 cups of water in this. And it's just supposed to be hot. It's not supposed to be boiling or anything, so I put it on a little bit of a low. I'm going to take my spoon. I'm going to get what I presume is roughly a tablespoon of this powder, and I'm just going to sprinkle it inside of this. And alright, while I let that kind of simmer, I'm going to actually turn it off because I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chop the vegetables. My blender is a perfect position to angle this down so you can see where I'm chopping and my face. And I never noticed that until just now, so that's awesome. Anyways, where's my cutting board? I have myself an onion, some zucchini, and some asparagus. The asparagus is actually supposed to be left as is, so I'm just going to throw it onto this pan, even though it's not on yet, so I remember what to do with it. Going to dice up this onion, though. Move the zucchini so you can see my fantastic dicing skills. I'm sure there's a better way to peel an onion, and I just suck, but we're going to pretend that that's not true right now. Right, watch this. Ready? Magic. Okay, so it's in half. Right? And so there you go. Yeah, low. God damn, my knife is dull. And I chop it in half like so. And then, ooh, look at that. Well, kind of. Well, there we go. There we go. Much better. Amazing skills that I have demonstrated here today. Ignore the fact that I almost cut myself. Now I'm going to take the onion and I'm going to put it on this pan. Now I've put it on a medium heat and I'm just going to let these onions get nice and, warm and brown and whatnot. I'm also going to prepare to get some honey, a little chunk of butter. I have the salt again. Now as for the zucchini, it says to boil the zucchini without cutting it, and I want to see if that's possible. I don't have a melon thingy, which probably is going to make, but I have a ice cream cone thingy, which I think is the same thing. Also, this does cut through much easier than I thought. Oh, geez, I broke it. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, well, the ball, it's not, well, maybe, hold on. I mean, it kind of hold. I'm going to do it again. It's not really balling per se. Well, hold on. Okay, well, that one kind of came out into a little ball, right? I don't even know how that physics, I don't even know the physics behind that. I'm not a scientist. Okay, well, I basically just brutalized that zucchini, and I'm going to hope that vegetables don't have feelings and they don't haunt me in my sleep. I ended up just making little slices, some of them that were more ball-shaped I left. Now the recipe says to steam them, so I'm going to wait until the onions are done and then I'll steam them. Meanwhile, the onions are making a little bit of a sizzly sound right now, so I'm going to go ahead and throw in this butter. Go ahead and throw in some salt. I'm basically waiting for those to get brown. While this steams, I'm going to go ahead and add just a nice little drizzle of honey because the recipe told me to. And these are pretty decently brown. These are going to continue to cook for a while though. And this is the part where I will go ahead and I'm going to throw in these tenderloins for 20 minutes. I actually started the timer for 15 minutes because then that last 5 minutes, that's when I'm going to cook the rest of the stuff. So the recipe at this point calls for that dissolved chicken bouillon water that we made earlier to slowly be added in, very slowly. And it basically says to slowly add it in and let the water evaporate and before we add more. And this is why it's going to take 20 minutes for these onions to be finished. Again, I don't know why we're doing this. I assume to make them more flavorful or something. But this is what we're doing. Oh, that's right. I also completely forgot something super important. Quinoa. This rice-looking stuff, that's probably some sort of seed that is not a rice. Yeah. If I could open the bag. There we go. So again, I have rice everywhere somehow. Okay, 5 ounces. How much is 5 ounces? Well, a cup is 8 ounces, so if I use my mathematical brain, I also just realized that this is the first time I'm realizing that my measuring cup has ounces on it, and that almost went everywhere. Yeah, that's about 5 ounces. Right. I'm gonna go ahead and just sprinkle this 5 ounces on there, and I'm gonna shove this into this cabinet. Gonna mix it up. And again, I'm just letting this cook and build up for the next 20 minutes while we wait for the pork loin. And then once all this water evaporates, I'll add more water and yada 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 yada. So everything can be done on time, and the chicken water thing doesn't actually need to be on any heat. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start making the asparagus and the zucchini. The zucchini is apparently supposed to just be steamed, so... Okay, I don't know if this is going to work, but I love trying things. So according to the internet, a great way to steam stuff is to use aluminum foil. Then I'm going to take a plate, and I'm going to balance it right on the thing. And I'm just going to place the zucchini on the plate, like so. So you have the pan, some aluminum foil, a plate, and then your item. I'm just going to take my water and just dump it at the bottom here. I don't know how much water it's supposed to be. I assume not a lot, because we're steaming it. And then I just turn it on and let it go, I guess. This is either going to work or the plate's going to explode and I'm going to die. So, one of two things. While it's going on, I'm going to work on the last little kind of section here, because we got about 5 minutes left. So I'm going to make a bread cheese sort of thing that goes on the pork loin. I'm basically going to go ahead and I'm going to throw a few slices of bread into the blender. Not the crust though. I'm going to grate half this block of cheese. Hold on, how much is this supposed to be? Yeah, actually about this whole thing really. We're getting close to the end, so even though it's supposed to be slowly, I'm just going to drown. I messed up. Take a little nibble. It does taste like cheese. Okay, the timer for the pork tenderloin is almost done. We're at 15 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and add another 5 minutes. Okay, we are on our last little stretch. I'm going to start by putting this bread away. The rice kind of portion of it is right there, almost done. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take our little bread mixture that we made. And where'd my glove go? There it is. All right. I'm going to open up this pork loin. You're going to ignore all those sounds. We're actually going to change the bake to a broil, and we're going to broil it at about 400 for 5 minutes, and then that'll be it. So we're going to go ahead and open up our tenderloin, see how that came out. Very pink. Now, I don't know if I'm supposed to take them out of the foil yet, so I'm just going to leave them just kind of open like that. I'll be honest, they don't look very done. They look very... I'm actually going to... What is he? Yeah, I can almost grab it, so the inside is kind of meh. So we'll see how this broil goes. And I might add it in for a little bit longer, but I'm going to go ahead and take my cheese mixture. And we're going to add 2 seasonings that I'd never heard of. The first is tarragon. Tarragon. Sounds like a DC supervillain. And I'm just going to toss some of that in there. I don't know how much. That much. I'm also going to add some herbs de Provence, because it apparently called for a different seasoning that my Walmart did not have. So I'm just going to toss in this thing because they kind of look the same. And because I can, I'm going to throw in a few basil leaves. I'm not sure how conformed to the tenderloin it's supposed to be, but I kind of just have it around like so. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and, where's my glove? Almost died. I'm going to go ahead and throw these back in the oven under the broiler for the next 5 minutes. And I'm basically going to leave those in there until I'm done with everything else. Now this is basically done, so I'm going to go ahead and start plating it, because I want to use this. So where's my spoon at? So now I'm gonna go ahead and take my asparagus. We're just gonna I'm gonna break the ends off. I'm just gonna toss them in there. I'm gonna let them get a little hot, and then I'm gonna throw in some butter. All right, so we're gonna use the chicken bowl again. All right, I think it's for the sauce 2 tablespoons. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna throw in. Actually, before I'm gonna clean off my spoon first. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons. So 1 and there we go. That's probably close to 2. And I'm just gonna let this come to a boil. So I'm basically waiting for this to boil. I'm gonna go ahead and throw in another thing of butter into the asparagus. Kind of let it get all buttery and whatnot. I'm just gonna let these asparagus sort of roast. I want to get them all kind of in a row so they all cook relatively evenly. I'm just gonna let them sit. I'm not really gonna touch them. I'm gonna really just stir this and kind of waiting for it to boil. Now, this is where me and the recipe disagree. Requires peas. Going to use my beautiful can opener and put this heathen inside of it. And I'm going to drain the peas. Okay, so now that this, oh man, now there's cheese on the ground. Whoa. Ugh. Now this is a 15-ounce can, so we are going to go ahead and put about half of it in. That was a little more than half, but it technically said 9 ounces. I can't count. I don't know. I'm throwing the recipes away. God, I hate these. And while that's going on, I'm going to take some of this mint leaves, and I'm going to throw these in there. And I'm going to hope that I throw in enough to counteract everything the peas are doing. That was probably way too much, but ew. Also, I'm going to go ahead and, right before these are done, I'm going to throw in some salt onto the asparagus, as well as some, where'd my, oh, there it is, I'm slow. And some pepper. Meanwhile, our asparagus is practically done, and our tenderloin is probably down there, also done. But I'm just going to let it sit for the time being. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the boiler, because it's probably finished. And now I'm going to take these nice, green, very seasoned asparagus, and I'm going to go ahead and plate them. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chop up the tenderloin. I got to take it out of the oven first. Where's my glove at? It came out very crisp. I like that. You can see it's like brown on some of the spots because of the cheese, which is great. We're just going to go ahead and cut into it and pray that it came out good. Again, I don't know what it's supposed to look or taste like, so just wanted to show you. Ooh, look at that. Oh, look at all that steam. It's a little grayer than I would have preferred, but I think it'll be fine. And I guess like I said, I don't make pork, so maybe it's supposed to be that gray, and I'm complaining, and then you all are going to be like, you don't know anything about cooking. I'm like, yeah, the show's called Try to Cook Some Stuff. Try to cook some stuff, damn it. I basically split up the entire one into 2 portions, so we have an entire another one, which is great. But with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead. I'm supposed to leave a few peas for the garnish. I'm not garnishing mine with peas. Hers can get peas. Now I'm putting all of this into a blender. This will make the sauce. Sauce. Put it in. Alright, here we go. Blending. Oh wait, no I'm not. It's not stuck on the thing. Alright, there we go. Now it's blending. Oh god. Oh, it's terrifying. Oh.
What is terrifying?
Peas! Yes, peas! It smells the peas. Okay, now I would imagine that the sauce part is supposed to be the like thick, jiggly part, because that's what a sauce looks like here, but I'm also just, maybe I'm wrong, and so I'm going to put some of the liquid, because there's more liquid than anything, so I would assume that the liquid is supposed to be the sauce. Yeah, I don't know. It's peas. I hate peas. Did I mention I hate peas? With that evil out of the way, I need a fork. That's what I need. I need a fork and a knife. this is what they look like officially. Overall, it actually does look and smell very, very good. I just can't stand peas. Well, let's go over to the table. No, they're not crunchy enough. I was getting worried. I was thinking they were going to be too crunchy. So I will keep that in mind for next time. I was very worried.
Seasoning on it's good though.
Ooh, that is good. That the rice is very good, actually. I like that. And it's not rice. It's quinoa. Ooh, it came out very juicy. You can find both of the sauces.
Yours is liquidy.
Yeah, I didn't know which one was supposed to be the sauce. I know it was supposed to be the liquidier one and the thickier one.
I think it's liquidy.
Try the thick one.
This is like spinach.
Good to know. Which is definitely why I'm not eating it. Because I also hate spinach. On a scale of 1 to 10, that would be
I have a 9.
9. Woo! I did something right. I just realized that I forgot one of the things, the thing that made it a Star Wars thing. We're gonna figure out something after the fact. Let's get started. Because apparently this is gonna take 2 hours. So, first thing that I need is some egg whites. Wait, where'd my phone go? Actually, the first thing is I'm gonna start the oven. I'm gonna preheat it to only 175. I got myself a bowl, and I have 3 eggs. I'm gonna break these eggs up, and I'm only going to use the egg whites, not the yolks. I'm gonna put the yolks in here. I'm now going to take half of that blended up sugar that I had mentioned earlier, and it's got some of the cheese in it from when I was making cheese. So I'm gonna get all that cheese. There's like one little thing of cheese. I don't know. And I'm going to take about half of this, I'm going to pour it into the egg whites, and I'm basically waiting for it to get a little frothy. I lied, I'm whipping the egg whites first, and then I can add the sugar once it's frothy. Now, most people will tend to use a automatic mixer because this takes a while, so fast forward to later. Now it's frothy, it's still very liquidy, but you can see it's a lot more, I don't know if you can see because it's bright, but it's a lot more bubbly. So I'm going to add about half of this little bit of sugar. And now I'm going to do the exact same thing until it gets more thick. Okay, after Googling things because my arm was getting tired and I whipped it for about 20 minutes, I found a different... Same concept, but a lot faster, so this should not take 2 hours anymore. And if it doesn't come out well, that's fine, because this is supposed to be like a little fancy thing on the top. We can still make the actual item, which is what we're getting into. So instead of putting them in for 175 instead of putting them in 175 for 2 hours, putting them at 350 for 10 minutes. Again, I have no idea if that's right. These could be very ruined. I might not even have made them right. Who knows? But I do know that my arm is very tired. So we're going to skip on to step 2, making the chocolate cream. So I have some mascarpone cheese, which is a delicious, creamy, spreadable cheese for bagels, toast, and tiramisu. That's what it says there. First, I'm just going to dump, which is about an ounce of sugar, right into this bowl. I'd want to see how much heavy cream I have, because it's supposed to be 9 ounces. So I have 6 ounces, and I don't think I have another thing of heavy whipping cream, which I don't. So I'm just going to use my brain and then, mathematically make sure that everything's kind of even. So sugar, I'm not worried about the sugar because I didn't even measure the sugar. I kind of guesstimated. So I put in 6 ounces of what was left of the heavy whipping cream. And then it's supposed to be an equal amount of this mascarpone cheese. And in total, this tub is... Look at this tub. Am I crazy? Why is this not giving me... Hold on. Ingredients, nutritious facts. Gives me the serving size. Okay, so I just kind of got to guess because it only gives me the well, actually, hold on. Okay, wait, hold on. Using math, this has 16 servings in it, and the serving size is 1 tablespoon or half an ounce. So this is 8. Yes, using mathematics, half an ounce is a serving size. There's 16 servings, which means there's 8 ounces. Because I'm great at mathematics. I somehow put it on to the point where I can no longer take it off. How did I ruin this? Let's see. What does it taste like? Because I actually have no idea what this tastes like. Oh, it tastes like absolutely nothing. Kind of tastes like the cream that you would put in a coffee. Yeah, I'm just gonna plop the whole thing in there because I don't see why not. So there's probably like an ounce or whatever left in like the size or that. Not a big fan. Not very sweet. The bowl is not big enough. I'm going to get an actual mixing bowl. So now that I've whipped all of this together, I'm supposed to be very cold. So I'm going to throw it in the freezer just to keep it cold while I get the rest of the stuff ready. So I thought that I had white chocolate chips. Turns out I don't. But I do have semi-sweet chocolate chips. So it'll be a little bit darker than it's supposed to be, but I don't imagine, other than the taste, it'll fail. I'd be shocked if that was the case. So I got about 3 ounces of chocolate chips. I'm going to go ahead and melt these. I also forgot another ingredient, because apparently I can't read. I thought it needed vanilla extract. It needed vanilla powder. I don't know the difference between the two, but the fact that one's a liquid and one's a solid is probably a pretty big tell. But we're going to move on. It wouldn't be this show if I knew what I was doing. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to dump in this chocolate. Again, I know it's not white chocolate. So I'm just going to dump in this nice melted, we're going to pretend white chocolate into the mix. I also never put these in the oven. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Go ahead and toss them in the oven for 10 minutes. Which will make this a midnight snack. And then last thing I'm going to need, which I did get, which is coconut. I'm throwing a handful of coconut. You're only supposed to have about 3 ounces, so maybe not a full handful. And that totally didn't go everywhere. Now, the thing that was supposed to make them Star Warsy is that you made little lightsabers using cookies. You put cookies, and then you get the white chocolate that I was supposed to get, and then you dye it, and then you put the cookie in the dye, and you made it Star Wars color. And I got the food dye, but I didn't get the cookie. And I also didn't get the white food coloring. So instead, we're just going to pretend that these are Star Wars. So, keep in mind how this is supposed to end is I'm supposed to crumble the cookie pieces from the leftover cookies that I didn't turn into lightsabers and crumble those at the bottom and then put the stuff inside of the stuff and then top it with the meringue. Ooh, they look beautiful. I don't know if my light's really showing you guys how amazingly golden brown and crisp they look. It looks very white from what I can see, but these actually look very, very nice. Okay, so while I don't have the cookies that I was supposed to have, I'm Americanizing this. Now I take this cream chocolate mixture thing, and then I just pour it into the thing. Now I can take these and I can plop them in there. So I want to try to get them without ruining them, because they do look beautiful, but I just trying to see how I can just smack them on the table, try to wiggle them out a little bit. Oh man, you know what it is? I didn't spray anything down, so they probably got stuck. Oh, that actually sucks. Oh no. Oh. Hold on, maybe I can use a knife. Hold on, because I just did it, and that's what happened. Poo. Okay, I'm gonna try to use a little baby knife. Just kind of scrape around the edges.
Try to keep a nice circle-y motion. Oh no, it's just tearing. Oh man, it's just oh my god, it looks horrible. Oh no. Oh, it's so tiny. This is kind of what it sadly looks like. I put them in mason jars, so that way I can see. So can you guys see them from over there? It makes about 6, depending on how you maybe really 4, depending on how full you want it to be. I didn't fill them up all the way, as you can see. This is about half of the mason jar, so a few ounces, and then kind of mix and match from there. But oh man, you can't even see the cookies anymore. The cookies just disappeared. Okay, she is asleep, and I didn't want to wake her, so instead I will be eating it by myself. So let's go ahead. I got a little bit of everything in there. I'm just gonna take a big scoopful. I got some of the cookie. Obviously, Cookie Crisp are gonna taste fine. Oh, and it fell on the mouth. I will have to clean that up. So I got some of the stuff. I'm just gonna eat it because I'm yapping and it's falling. Personally, I really like this. It's very creamy. I do wish I would have added more coconut because I'm not tasting a lot of the coconut, and I was afraid I was gonna add too much coconut, which, I mean, that's me. That's on me because you can never have too much coconut. But it's really good. It's really chocolatey. It's really creamy. I would imagine if I had made it correctly, it would be absolutely fantastic because this is genuinely really, really good. I make everything look way more difficult than it actually is on this channel, from speaking to cooking. But ultimately, these should take you at most 10 minutes. Now, if you want to make the meringues properly and you want to do them for 175 for 2 hours, that's what's going to add on. But like the item itself, you can make like that. It's literally just put heavy cream, the mascarpone cheese, and the sugar, mix it in a bowl, and then add chocolate, melted chocolate, white chocolate in the bowl, and then add some coconut, and then that's it. That's the whole recipe. And then if you want to add the Star Wars stuff, you can do that, but ultimately you can just do what I did and use cookies. You don't have to use, I'm not saying use Cookie Crisp, but like you can just use regular cookies. If you have cookie sticks, or you want to get cookie sticks, or you want a different kind of cookie, you can just crumble it up and put it in there. Because that is what it says in the instructions. That's crumble up the cookies that you didn't make the lightsabers with and put it in there. So, but I will definitely be saving these and having these some other time again. The Cookie Crisp was a genius addition by myself for messing up because it works perfectly. You can't really tell. I wonder if you guys can see it. The meringue is in there. You can see it's that like yellow looking thing. It's really small. It doesn't really do that much because they're so small, and these are quite large. So I think if I would have made them properly and made them big, it would have a lot bigger of an impact. But again, ultimately, I would say this specifically, the pork loin, you should be able to make that 20-30 minutes. It says an hour in the book, and it took me an hour. But I think ultimately that's just because again I'm slow and I really didn't know what I was doing. Also, this lid sucks. Like, oh, close on. And ultimately make the sauce. I would say that's the one thing that I would do differently, which also I wouldn't make that sauce. I personally did not like the sauce because I don't like peas. I guess if you like peas, it'll be a good sauce. I don't like peas, so that was not a great sauce. So next time I won't even make the sauce, which definitely helps. But if you wanted to make a different sauce, the sauce isn't heated. So you can make that you can make that first. If you're going to make this, make the sauce first. That way it can just sit and you don't even have to worry about it until the very end. And then you can use that same pan to make the asparagus or zucchini, or if you want to, keep the chicken bouillon kind of in the same location, you can just make the quinoa there. So you can literally make the sauce, set it to the side, don't worry about it. The sauce takes 5 minutes. It's literally just waiting for the water to boil. And then, from there, you make the quinoa. I could use the back burners, steam the zucchini, fry the asparagus, and while all that's going on, the pork loin is getting made. You know what I mean? And then while those are frying, make blend up the cheese and the bread. Then by the time those are done, you can plate everything, fry up or broil the cheese and the pork loin. Again, 5 minutes like that should be good. Same thing with this, it's literally put everything in a bowl and mix it. And that's it. That's the whole thing. Hey, thank you guys so much for watching this particular video. If you like it, please give it a like and share your thoughts in the comments. I love your feedback. It really helps me learn how to make this series better for you. And you clearly made it this far into the video, so you might as well subscribe. Because if you don't subscribe and you made it this far to the absolute end of the video, well, that just seems like a waste of time. But like, share, comment, do all the other YouTube things that I know you know how to do. Please check out the other series on this channel, including my game show, Are You a Dumbass, and my new show, Let's Talk About Last Week. And as always, my name is Dion, but you can call me IsBe, and I'll see you guys real soon. Peace.